walk that way. Just clear the cable so I can shoot from that side.
Sure. Okay, picture is live. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've actually managed to find the tracks. If you were with me on drive a few days ago, we had some male leopard tracks walking down Twin Downs Road, and that's where we are now. And they've actually survived. So Anton says they're perfect for casting. So what we're going to do is show you how to cast. I've never done it myself before, so this is going to be a wonderful learning experience for me as well. But what it does mean is you're able to do this wherever you are in the world. So if you are interested in tracks and tracking and you want to try this, you can actually do it at home too.
I need you to start from the top again. I need you to start from the top. We had an issue this side. Just say sorry, technical issues, and we're going to start from the top again.
We're going to do it again.
Please.
Let's go again. Well, welcome everybody. I'm sorry for the technical issues, but welcome on board this afternoon to the Gunda and to Juma Game Reserve. My name's Tara. I'm going to be your guide around this beautiful reserve this afternoon. But I'm joined by a very special guest from Ingwe Leopard Project, Anton. Welcome, Anton.
Thank you,
Good to
Tara.
have you with us.
Good to see you as well.
And just to quickly introduce you to the rest of the crew before we head into why Anton's with us, we're actually going to be going through a few bits and pieces, but sport mainly. But to quickly introduce you, Daniel is on camera and Herman is back in final control. So I'm hoping this is going to be a good game drive. But just to bring you back to why Anton is here, he does a lot of casting of spoor, and as I say, he does work for the Ingwe Leopard Project, and hopefully we'll get into that a little bit later on as well. But for the time being, Anton, if you want to take it away.
Sure. I can explain to the guys what I'm doing here. Is we found some good leopard tracks here. It looks like a male, as you can see in front of you. Nice tracks in mud, and it rained about 2 days ago.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, so it's quite fairly fresh, if you would like. But anyway, what we use the tracks for at the Ingwe Leopard Project is to build up ID kits of leopards. And they've got a very unique shape, to each track or each leopard. So you can use it as a fingerprint, like with a human. It's very unique to each animal. And I usually use the hind foot to build up the ID kit, and the reason is when an animal walks like your cat, the front foot flips, and then they actually destroy the truck. As you can't see the main pad especially, well, the toes actually especially, and the main pad also you can't see really. So the hind foot just really push into the ground like a stamp. They pick it out clearly from the ground, and then you can see the shape of it nicely. And that's how you can identify them.
Awesome. Now, I was actually there to help when they caught Lucky to put the collar on, and Anton was also there. So this is where I first met Anton, and I'm really glad to have him on board today, because we've been saying we'd love to get him up and actually show us how to cast the tracks. So that's what we're going to do now, and you say these tracks are perfect for
they're
casting.
perfect, yeah. Perfect.
So some of you were on drive with me the other day. We actually had these leopard tracks probably fairly fresh when we actually did find them, and unfortunately we weren't able to catch up with the leopard itself. I think it was one of the boys, Mishu or Induna, but judging by the tracks, it does look like one of them. So who knows? I'm hoping it's one of them. But we might be able to find some distinguishing features today.
Oh yeah.
And if you'd like to join in this exercise at home, it gives you an opportunity, and I've never done this before, so I'm very eager to actually see how it's done. But it also allows you anywhere in the world to be able to do this, to recreate what we're going to do here. So if you're interested in tracking and tracks, then just have a look at what we do. It's very simple, very easy, and if you would like to try it, you can test it on any tracks. So if you see something out while you're walking, then you can actually cast the tracks yourself, which I'm really excited about. So we need to get the stuff together.
It's really fun.
Definitely.
We just need to get our kit first, yeah.
Yep. So if I can grab this from this side. Okay, so this is the leopard track that we found. So Anton, if you want to take take it away, I'm going to be your assistant. So tell me where you want me to be and what you want me to do.
Well, you're going to be full of plaster at the end anyway.
Oh, am I? Okay,
So I
cool.
hope you don't do all of that. I'm just going to go through the kit with the people first. Let me
Okay,
just,
so we need to...
explain to them what we have and why, of course, we're using that. Very basic here. This is just plaster. You can use about any plaster you can get.
Is this plaster of Paris or is
Plaster
this
of Paris, yeah.
plaster of
yeah.
Paris? Okay. And
And
you
then-
usually get that in little bags or
Yeah, you can buy it from a pharmacy. I know in South Africa you can buy it from a pharmacy. I
Yeah.
just get mine from Joburg because I buy them in bulk.
yeah, buy them.
So this is quite a hard plaster as well. And what I also like about plaster, it expands a little bit, but not much. So you have your original size, and especially for measurements. I mean, you have to measure your tracks as well. What you need to put into your database when you get tracks like this, you measure them. I can probably show you just quickly. If you can get the camera closer, I can show them on camera as well. This is your hind left foot. And the reason it's your hind left foot is, if you look at the track itself, it's very elongated, as you can see. And here's your front foot, which is quite round. You can see the difference between the toes. It forms almost like a perfect circle here. But sometimes you get like a flyer as well. My female, which I call my female, which is my favorite, she's got a flyer out here on her left
What do you
front
mean by
foot.
flyer?
The toe is actually a bit far from the main pad itself, so you
okay.
just say it's a flyer. So you can see clearly it's round, and if you come back to the hind one here, it's very narrow here in the front as well, and it's elongated like I said. And the space between your main pad and your toes tells you it's a female. You need to keep in mind as well that this is a mud track, so it will get closer because it's as you've probably seen with Lucky. I actually showed you. Remember the main pad and the toes is quite round. As deeper as the track goes, the bigger the track gets, of course, and smaller the spaces like between your toes and your main pad as well. So why I'm saying this is a lift, you will see your outside toe, the toe on your outside is normally closer than when your inner toe. You can see there's a bit of a space there. And this normally, but there's no rule in nature, as you know, this is how it is, it's a fixed rule. You get sometimes a difference, like with Lucky, our collared male at the moment, with his hind foot, they're about the same level, the two inner toes.
Okay.
But normally they're like this. And also what tells me this is a male, you can't always go on size as well, like, you know, you get young animals.
Yes.
And so you need to go on the shape. Your males are usually round, the main pad here, as you can see. Very round, straight lines, but you do have your curves as well, which make it unique. And with your females, it usually goes with curves, with straight lines. Sometimes you get big females. I've seen big females in our area. Our study number was FS4, and she was enormous. She was the size of some of the males.
Sure. What sort of weight are you talking
Well, I
about?
estimated her in the 50s.
In a 50s.
In
Sure,
the 50 kilograms,
sure.
yeah. Her track was about the same size as this.
Wow.
But you can make it up because of the shape of the main pad. That it was a female and not a male. But to come back to the kit we have on the side here, of course you need water. And then people always ask me, why do I carry baby powder with me? The reason is, I'll show you as well. Let me start with the start here. You need first your track, of course. And then you take hairspray, which is just normal hairspray. And this is a mud track. You don't really have to use it, but I'm going to use it just to show you guys how it looks like and how you need to use it. You can make a track in very, very fine sand, like cement almost. Like in this powder, you can make it. Because this binds the sand, so it doesn't fall in or curve in when you throw your plaster in.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So you need to have your hairspray first, then you take your baby powder in a little puffy thing. You use some baby powder in here, sucked up, and then you put it over your track as well. And the reason is just to let the sand come loose from the plaster a little bit easier. So it's like a lubricant. That's what it
Okay,
is.
so you use the hairspray to fix the track,
Yeah,
and then you put the talcum powder on it so that the plaster will come
exactly. Yeah,
away. Okay.
it's also sticky. Remember,
Yeah.
the hairspray when it gets dry is sticky.
Uh-huh.
So that everything will stick to the plaster itself. And then of course your baby powder, and then you just mix your plaster then. So I'm going to start with this mixing bowl. Of course that's very important, otherwise you're stuck. And then a little bit of water. So you need to estimate how much you're going to use.
So we're going to do this track or this track? or both?
I think let's make a front and a hind one,
Okay,
just
cool.
to show people the difference as well.
Awesome.
Let's just see. What I also use is a PVC pipe, very basic PVC pipe, and I just cut it from the side, as people can see here, just to open it. Because if you have it closed like this in one piece, and you cast it, you can't get it out,
Oh yeah, of
and
course.
it's stuck. So you need to cut it to pull it open to get it out, of course. Sometimes with male you struggle, you need a bigger pipe. And we had a male in our area which disappeared about 3 years ago, and it's very old, so he just died of old age. His track actually fit into this one.
Wow.
Believe it or not, it was as big
Wow.
as a female lion, lioness.
Sure.
So let's see if we can fit this one over here. That's just going to be, I don't think we're going to make that one. So I'm going to use this smaller pipe. It's about 110 centimeters here, and this one is 160 for the front foot. Space it nicely into the middle, as you guys probably can see from the top here. And then you just need to get some dry sand. I hope it's not going to make a noise on the speaker here. Just put it around just to block your plaster. Because if you're going to fill this with plaster, it's going to run out at the bottom. Because we can't push it in, it's very hard. Just close it nicely like this. Alright, that's step number 1 here. Step number 2 is done as well. And then you just take a mixing bowl. Now you need to figure out how much plaster you're going to use. So if you mix about 500 milliliters of water, you get like 900 milliliters of plaster at the end. So it's almost double
Okay.
the amount. Yeah. So let's just put, let's say that's for the smaller one, and that's for the bigger one. We can mix them at once. More or less that, I think. So I'm just going to use the hairspray just to show you how it works. If you have a track, as you probably can see, I can show you guys here with my finger. If you put it in the plaster like this, the track is like a very fine powdery sand, and you use your hairspray too close, you're going to destroy it. So you have to be very far from the track itself. So I'll show you on this one now. You just need to spray gently, and this mud we don't have to worry. Of course it's very hard, so just spray a little bit here, as much as you need, and this puffy thing you just push a little bit, tip it over, and just give it a little bit of baby powder. That's it.
So you completely cover the track.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
like just a thin layer, that's all.
So just again, the hairspray helps to fix the track.
Fix
and
the
then
track, exactly.
baby
Otherwise it falls
powder
in, yeah.
will actually just help the plaster of Paris to come away.
Exactly, yeah. That's all you need, just a little bit of baby powder like that. Now, the secret, if you mix your powder, you mustn't mix it while you're putting the plaster in. Otherwise it starts the process of getting hard. So just throw it gently with your hand like this, just all around here, so it falls down to the bottom. It's going to get heavy and just goes down. Starts going down there. Well, this is really fun, as you can see. Very messy work. I mean, if I
I
go,
think that's what makes it fun.
I like to get messy. So lots of times when I get home, people ask me, "Where have you been? You're like white. What did you do?" So just I
Been
played
playing
with
in
plaster.
snow.
Yeah. I even had a farmer where I worked on, because lots of our research we're doing is on farms.
Yeah.
And one farmer came up to me and said, "Anton, I don't understand something. There's an animal on this farm with a very, very strange poo. Tongue looks, I don't recognize this." And he explained to me this little bit of white. And I said, "Ostrich?" Because he had ostriches. He said, No, not ostrich. That can't be ostrich. And at the end I found out it's actually a bit of plaster. So,
Oh, is it?
yeah, so
Where you've been
I've cleaned, but
taking the
not
tracks,
good enough.
yeah.
So yeah, you have your fun moments sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So the Ingwe Leopard project is up or down in Leidenburg from where we are.
Yeah.
And that takes about, what, 2.5 hours to drive from
2.5
here.
hours, yeah.
Yeah. So it lies about southwest from where we are. And I can't believe it's been a year since I was there. It was
It's
about
actually
this time
yeah.
last year we were actually out catching lucky.
Yeah, we caught lucky. Yeah, after a year and a half.
Yeah.
That was quite a job catching that guy. He was just, his name was actually Big Boy, and maybe I can tell the audience as well the story. He's quite a big male. He's 85 kilograms. And we were after him to collar him because he would have been our first male on the project collared. And we were all excited about this. So we tried with this another guy, a trapper from America, which helped us trapping this guy. And he was just lucky. We had a side stripe jackal step into the, and as I said, what will happen is the way it works is just the thing around the foot, which is very safe, no problem at all. And then the jackal can pull it out because it's not big enough, the animal itself. And the leopard, lucky, or Big Boy at that time, just walked into it. And you know, all kinds of that stuff. He was just lucky to escape every time.
Yeah.
And the rain jumped us, they said before as well. And you know, and I said to Will Fox, which is our manager of the project, I said, I think we should change his name to Lucky, not Big Boy anymore, because he's very lucky.
He keeps escaping. Oh dear. But the whole reason why the collars are getting put on these leopards is to actually protect them and help them, as well as obviously research them.
Yeah.
Because they're actually down, there's a lot of farmland around there, and unfortunately a lot of the farmers still see leopards as a threat to their livestock. So what these guys are trying to do is to trying to prove as well to the farmers that actually it's not always the case that it's leopards, and you're also trying to find out how far they roam, and obviously just trying to protect them that way.
The area they walk, Lucky as well, is moving a lot during the day, and which is very interesting to us as well. And if you compare the data we have at the moment with a guy in Valwater, not about 3.5 hours from where we are, you found the same with one male as well, who's just walking during the day. It's like 2 hours, every 2 hours he just move on for an hour or 2 or 3 and then stops again and lie down and relax and then scoop off again.
Well, that's what we find here in the Sabi Sands. I must admit, I always thought that leopards were a lot more nocturnal, but actually they do move around a lot during the day.
They do move around the day, yeah.
And we've actually seen it a lot with our leopards. I mean, Karula at the moment, she's moving those cubs during the day, and she seems to be behind them at night, and obviously away from hyenas and lions, and when they're going to be more active.
Yeah, that is the case if you study an animal very closely. You pick up all these things, because you just assume it's like you say, a nocturnal animal, and it's actually active during the day as well. Yeah. I spent an hour and a half the other day with a leopard at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. So relaxed in our area. Was lying down, stood up, went down to the water, was drinking the water, and it was a beautiful, beautiful sight. Yeah. Very young male, about 2 years old. Okay. She's a couple of one of our study animals. FS7, because we give them all numbers. And FS stands for female studied.
Okay.
Number. And then he starts talking Impala. So that was amazing. But anyway, before I talk too much, I need to do the cast, otherwise it's going to be hard at the end.
Okay. So what you're doing now?
What I do now is just pour the plaster on my stick, especially if you work in very sandy soil. You don't want to damage your track with the force of the plaster. So you just pour it gently on your stick. The spoon actually works very well.
Okay.
Just going to use that.
I mean, have you made many Irish coffees? You seem to have the knack there. You do the same thing with the cream on top of the Irish coffee.
Let's don't say anything about that. If you get alone in the bush after a while, you do funny things.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be enough. Just thick enough to. You don't want to waste your plaster as well.
So you basically just waited for the plaster just to thicken up and absorb the water, and did you stir it at all?
Yes, I did stir it
at
the
end.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can see, it's about this deep.
Okay.
So yeah, that's thick enough, and you can just level it as well. Now, what we do on at our project as well, if you make a cast, what we call this. So by the way, this is a field cast. We just put the date on there. You put your GPS readings, the name of the farm, you find the track, and then also if you can identify the animal, you put the name on as well. And all that we put in a box separately away, and then when you're not quite sure about a track, you can always go. It's like with an office, you have files, backup files. That's exactly what you're using it for. So when you find tracks like this, you measure it as well, which I'm actually going to show you guys now if you're interested.
Awesome.
I just need to wash this out before it gets too hard.
So it actually gives you so much more than just a picture.
Oh yeah.
And that's really one of the main reasons for doing this.
Yeah.
Because you can take a picture, you can take the measurements, but as Anton saying, you don't necessarily see all the detail that's there.
And some of them I keep for souvenirs as well, of course. Animals you like a lot, or special sighting. I was killing something and had a kill or whatever.
Yeah.
You make a cast there and just keep it for yourself. It's
Yeah.
a nice little souvenir.
I must admit, I'm very, very pleased that we managed to find these tracks, because there's been a few days where we haven't really had many of the leopard tracks.
Yeah,
And obviously always thinking about the environment as well, not making any mess in the environment.
Yeah, and that's why I put it in a bottle, so we don't get funny questions.
Yeah.
And there's just a little bit of it left here on the sand, so that won't make any damage.
Yeah.
It's nice and clean, always walk clean. Wherever you work, don't leave a sign. And that's it. We just need to wait for it about 25 minutes and this will be hard.
Awesome.
We can take that. If I just put my stuff on the side, I'm going to show you quickly. You can show the people as well. Let's get a nice track. Is this in the sun here or not?
Sun.
Let's get one in the sun
Yeah,
and the people can see better. See, that one was the front foot left. This is the right one. Track is, or the toe is closer to the main pad on this side. Now if you look at this track, if you can properly film this from the top, you can see better. Look at this side of the main pad, the angle. Yeah. If you draw, if you take like, if I take a piece of grass to show the people here as a line, can you see this on camera? Yeah. If you take the middle of the main pad, cats have 3 lobes, 1, 2, 3 at the bottom, all cats do have that. And then you take it down to the middle, and you can see actually where this grass is cutting the line. It's in the middle, well, not in the middle, on the side of this toe, the inner toe there. Can you see there? So this main pad is a bit, as we say, skew, off line. Yeah, it's it's not like in the middle of the two toes there. This side of the main pad is a bit different, bigger, rather. You see that side? The angle goes this side, so if you draw again with your grasses, can you see where they cross? It's offline. You take this grass here, another one, just to show you the angle, because you can't probably make it out if you look at it, but if you take this, can you see how far is it off? Not in the middle. So it's not the same angle. And this side as well, on this side the main pad here, is lower than on that side. So that's something which is very unique to this track of this specific animal. And also what you can do, normally it's just round at the bottom and sharper at the top or the end of the toe. Some of them are more rounder. Someone like this one, some of the toes go very much out and yet it's almost straight. So all those little things you pick up. There's actually a lot of things you can look at this track. You can see, even see the cracks in his foot. Can you see that? Look very close. If you guys can see my finger there, tiny little cracks in his foot.
There is as well.
Yeah. As old as they get more cracks in the foot. Because it's more wear and tear.
Yeah, much more walking.
Yeah.
As we were discussing just as we came down here, Karula walked a great distance the other day, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to go over towards Buffelshoek Dam and maybe even cast Karula's spoor there as well.
I believe she's got 2 cubs as well.
She's got 2 cubs as well.
Wonderful.
She didn't have the cubs that side though, it was just her tracks. But certainly it's I've never noticed how much detail there is there. I mean, you get so used to looking at a track and going, okay, that's male, that's female, but it's quite amazing how much detail is there.
It's amazing what you can pick up, yeah. And what I can also show you, people, sorry, if you can just bring the camera closer. The first measurement is A, that's your total length, and that's from the bottom, the lowest part of your main pad, and the top part of your toes, you guys can see on the top of the grass there. That's A. B is your total width. Normally it's just your toes. The main pad is normally closer. Oh, smaller than your main pad. It's wider, your toes. Sorry, I'm in your sun there. That's B. And then C works the same, the total length of your main pad and the total width. And then D1 goes from your left toe down to your lower part of your main pad or the middle lobe. So take it from the bottom, toe, main pad, and then you get the measurement from there to there as well.
Oh, so for each toe as
for
well.
each toe as well. So you do a lot of measurements to prevent that you can make a mistake.
Yeah.
So what you need to remember as well, when you get a track in the sand which is not really deep, of course the shape will, not really so much the shape, but the size of the track will be bigger,
Change.
smaller, but the shape differs slightly a bit as well. So you need to keep all those things in mind. And it took me at least 2 years to pick up all those little things, you know, to read or to identify animals, which is quite nice. I mean, if we go out in areas like we are, it's not like you guys, it's more wild on that side, not like Salvation is not wild, not what I'm saying, but it's just, there's
Our
more
animals,
farming,
yeah,
there's more
that's it.
farming activities, so
That's
they're
it.
very shy, away
Yeah.
from people. Yeah, they're quite relaxed.
Yeah.
So you can't see a lot of tracks there, or rather sightings, but you see tracks. So it's quite nice if you go for a drive out to service your camera traps or whatever, and there's Lucky,
Yeah.
there's Blacktip, there's
Yeah.
FS7, you know, or it's quite nice to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's all the measurements you can make as well, and you can also use the cast. After, if you haven't got time in the bush, you can take the cast itself and make measurements as well
Yeah.
from the cast, because it stays the same size, exactly the same size.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's about it. And also, which I can probably explain to you guys as well. You can see this is a cat track. Like I said, it's got 3 lobes at the bottom. Your hyena got 2, wild dogs all got 2. The lion's got 3, of course. And also the other thing is, like in our area, you only get leopards and brown hyenas. So some of your farmers will say, you know, I found a track there and I don't know if it's a leopard or a brown hyena, and you will say, let's go and have a look. And then you can show them by, if you take a track of a lion, leopard, you can take all 4 toes and you can fit him into the main pad. You can see, with the hyena you can't. You can take about 3. 3 of the toes you can put into the main pad itself.
Oh, that's
So
true.
that's
actually,
also
yeah.
a very, sometimes you can't see the top, or the bottom rather. The animal was sliding down a mud bank or whatever, and then you can see more or less how big the size is, but you can't see the 2 or the 3 lobes down at the bottom. And then you can just
That's
make a
quite a
simple
useful
test. Yeah, it's a useful technique.
Ah, always useful tips.
Yeah.
How are we doing here?
I can,
It looks like it is setting.
it is setting definitely. Yeah. What helps with the soil, it sucks out the water,
Yeah.
so it gets harder quicker. But usually it takes about 25 minutes. You can see it's still soft. But anyway, it's time for you to ask questions if you want to, or
But yeah, if you do have any questions you would like to ask Anton, then definitely send them through to questions@wildearthsafari.tv. Unfortunately, he's not able to join us on a fireside chat. That's why we're doing it now. So if there is anything you'd like to ask him, then please do send through those questions. And yeah, definitely. I mean, I've definitely learned something today, and obviously just with the tracks as well. And
Yeah.
that's why it's always just great to have people, even though they may be in the same profession as you or completely different, you always learn something. And I must admit, thank you very much for joining us and actually
You're
agreeing
welcome.
to do this.
this is my passion. This is what I like to do.
You certainly see that. You definitely are very passionate about it.
Sometimes I did disappear for a day too before, you know, doing this kind of work, just chasing leopards by myself on a quad bike,
Yeah.
and just chasing tracks, make casts. I probably made 700-800 casts by now in 7 years'
Wow,
time, because I'm with the
sure.
project for about 7 years now.
Sure. I remember there being a very big box full of them.
Oh yeah, you saw some of them. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
actually
I
that's
did.
favorite female of mine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's,
I forget
love
what
her
was she
tracks.
called again?
Moshwana,
Moshwana.
which means sweet thorn.
Ah, okay.
Because the first time I picked up the tracks in a territory there was a lot of sweet thorns in that area.
Yeah.
And I also made a joke because with one of the journalists in on newspapers there, she said, "Why do you call it?" She asked me, "Why do you call it sweet thorn?" I said, "Well, she's a thorn on my flesh because it's hard to find them, but she's a sweet one."
Oh, shame. Oh, fantastic. I've actually got a red-billed hornbill behind
Oh,
us
he wants to
watching.
learn as well.
Yeah, he does that.
Come over here, fella. Have a look. I'm not stealing your ideas. I like the way they walk.
Same,
This
hey?
walk's so funny.
They're definitely very cheeky, eh?
Yeah, very cheeky birds.
no fear. You can see how close he was getting.
Yeah,
He's
very
actually just
close.
been hopping around here as we've been doing this.
It's so amazing to see that.
It is, hey?
And if you know, so many things you can have a look at in the bush. You can see tracks of a leopard at 1 minute, and the next minute you can see this bird
Yeah, exactly.
just walking past.
But that's it, you never know what to expect.
You
in the
never know what
bush.
to expect.
You really
Exactly.
don't.
Yeah. It's always a surprise around the corner.
It is, hey. And that was exactly the truth for Lucky when we did actually catch him, because Darren Simpson, as some of you know, he was an American that actually came over to help catch Lucky, so they could put the radio tracking collar on him. And we set the traps up, didn't we? And well, he went out and set up the traps up, and he said, "Oh, it probably will be a few hours." And they had dinner, and they went back to have a look just in case. And lo and behold, he'd actually caught him.
It was 4 hours actually.
It was 4 hours from setting the trap to actually going back to find him. It was 4 hours. After how many evasions? It was probably about 3 or 4 evasions of actually other traps that were set for him.
Yeah, we missed him.
It really
So
was quite
that's why he's still
incredible.
lucky.
Yeah, definitely
So
still
after we
lucky.
caught him, I said we should change his name to Unlucky.
Yeah, that's it. But
He's
he
not
was
lucky
huge.
anymore.
He
He
was.
was
I mean, what was his head was about this sort of size.
Yeah, it's about this size. I
Yeah.
still have the photos.
Yeah.
A leopard with that size of head, and it was 85 kilograms.
Yeah.
That's-
That,
how many pounds is that?
I'm not actually sure.
I'm
Is
not
it
quite
what-
sure in pounds because we work in kilograms. So.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's a big head. I mean, his paw.
Yeah, I
his
rem-
paw
yeah,
was
his
about this
paw.
size, you remember?
Yeah.
About this size. Very, very big. But it was actually very nice to have him. And I was saying to Will and to Darren as well, no, this can't be lucky.
I remember actually.
No,
that
this
night,
can't
you
be
go,
lucky.
"No,
This is
no,
not.
no."
We can't be that lucky. So it can't be lucky. And yeah, at the end we saw that mark on the side,
I
on
think
his
that
right
was it,
side.
that was
And
what
we
gave
said,
it
well,
away,
this
yeah.
must be lucky.
But he was a beautiful male,
Oh,
hey, and his fur, oh, it was stunning, hey. And even, I think his teeth were in just such good condition, weren't they?
No, he was a
He really was quite
excellent
a-
specimen. Yeah. He was in a
Definitely.
very good shape. He's in the prime of his life.
Definitely.
And to see an animal or the tracks of that animal for so long, and eventually to see him was
Yeah.
amazing. It's like with that female of mine, Moshwana.
Mm.
I was tracking her and chasing her by camera traps with your what you put out into camera to take photos of them. As
Oh yeah,
know.
you put them on the
yeah.
tree and they have a beam,
Yeah,
and the animal
yeah.
walks through and...
To get ID photos, of course, and that's how you can see what the population is like in that specific system. But anyway, know that animal for so long in that area, and one day I was driving around this corner, and I just think of this. You're driving around the corner, and I was talking to my my dad's brother. My uncle was with me, and we were talking about leopards and research and so on as well. And as I came around the corner, it was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was raining, it was drizzling. So she was probably hunting, I don't know. But I just saw this leopard cross the road very quickly, and I said, "Leopard, leopard!" And I was driving quickly, and I stopped, and she stopped as well. Turned around, about 80 meters from me, looked at me, giving me a chance for a photo.
Yeah.
And I luckily had a camera with me, because I actually left the camera and I turned around again and said, just in case we see
Yeah.
something. And I took this first photo. You won't believe it. It was blurry.
Oh,
It wasn't
yeah.
focused. And she was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give you another chance." So I took a good one the second time, and she just scooped off, and it's like a ghost. It's just it's there all of a sudden, and whoops, it's gone.
Oh, I
and
know
my
that
heart
one
was
for
like
sure,
boom, boom,
hey.
boom, boom, boom.
It's quite crazy. It was actually just around here when we had Karun and the Cubs. Again, if some of you missed that, I'm busy. I'm halfway through the blog, so hopefully I should be posting it up tomorrow about the fantastic sighting that we had. We had Karuna, and she kept popping up during the drive. It really was quite amazing. And she actually walked through here. There's actually a game trail that follows right through here, and it wasn't too far away, probably just a few meters into the bush here. We actually had Karula, and I'd gone in to try and see her because she called the cubs. She made that soft yeah, and I was like, she's going to call the cubs, she's calling the cubs. So we tried to go in because she disappeared, and I actually thought, okay, that we've lost our chance. She's gone into the thick bush, we're not going to be able to see her. And as I pulled out, I still don't know, she just miraculously appeared, and she's there, and it's almost as if she was there all the time. She was there, just grooming. She's, I've been here all the time, why have you not seen me? You know, it really was. And then all of a sudden the cubs came out and jumped on her and played, and it really was just magical, hey. So I definitely know that thing, as the viewers I'm sure do as well. Because you just drive around the corner and boom.
Boom, they're
But
there.
I think definitely, I mean, after seeing her tracks so often, actually bumping into her.
And that always happened when you least expected it.
Yeah, exactly. Aha, interesting question. Thanks, Ellen, and good afternoon to you. And Ellen would like to know, do you think that Karula's cubs will have the same sort of identifying features even at this age?
I've found it before.
Yeah.
I've found it before. We actually have me and Emma, which is also a researcher with us, who's doing an excellent job, so by the way. Must give her credit for that one. But to come back what the question is, and thank you for that question, it's a very good question. We have a young male, that male I saw. And there's a male as well in that area, blacktip. He's massive. He's really big. He's bigger than Big Boy.
Oh, really?
Sure. Lucky, yeah. He's very big. On the side of his main pad, he's got the same kind of curve.
Okay.
So we had the same argument, and that's what I found before as well. That sometimes they do have same characteristics of the father or the mother.
Oh,
That's possible. They can have that, yeah.
And what about from when they actually cubs and growing? Are we
It
going
will
to
be
be
always
seeing?
there.
So it's
Always
always
be
going to be
there,
there, just like our fingerprints.
It never changes.
Never changes.
Yeah. And unless there's an injury.
Yeah, of course.
In a fight, they can put the toe or whatever. And we have another female which sadly died of old age as well. She was also collared, and this new female, FS7, took her place. And she had a very unique hind foot, and we think she was also in a fight, and something bit her toe.
Oh, sure.
And it was a little bit. And these animals are tough, as you know. They will survive. I mean, if you're a predator, life is a bit hard.
Yeah.
You need to work for your food.
Yeah.
So, but it healed perfectly. When we caught her, there was nothing wrong. But it was so easy to identify her because the toe was like a fly. You know, the main pad and your toe, and the other one was. I can actually draw it for the people if they want to see it. It was very interesting. If you have your main pad there, you can probably. Can you see this on camera, or is it a little bit too dark? Can you see it? Okay, there's your main pad. Don't forget the 3 lobes. And then she had a toe here, the hind left. It was, and then this one was over here, and this one was there, and that one was there.
Oh wow.
That was amazing to see that.
Sure.
The first time I saw this truck move into that area, it's like, what happened here? This leopard's got 3 toes and a funny animal walked in front of it.
Sure.
And we figured out, yeah,
That's obviously what happened.
that's the leopard. And when we called it to collar her, we saw it actually on the leopard itself. So sometimes you have something very easy, and sometimes it's very close to another leopard. But if you really measure the track, if you look closely, you will find a difference.
Sure.
Definitely.
Estenio, good afternoon to you, Estenio, and welcome. And Estenio wants to know how long will leopard tracks stay on the ground for?
That's a very good question, and that's what people ask you a lot when you go out with people. And the first thing you need to keep in mind is weather. That's the first thing. Sometimes in the morning you're very lucky to get a very fresh track from a very sandy area. Now if you look at, I can show you guys actually here. This rained on top of the soil here, of course, about 2 days ago, so it's got a certain color. Now, if there's some disturbance like this, the color changes immediately. But if the sun is shining and you leave this for a while, it's going to turn into the same color as the sand. So, can I just explain to the guys further?
Keep going, keep going.
It's just if you look at the soil here, the color change. So sometimes you do get in the morning, you can actually, I mean, it's very fine sand, you can actually see the track, of course, and then the fur around the paw itself, you can see in the sand, the little marks. And then you know it's very, very, very fresh. So you need to keep the weather in mind. If you go out in the morning, did the wind blow? Did it rain last night? Was there dew? So that's actually the stuff you use to see how old the track is. And our next question was?
I was just trying to find out that one again. If we could just have that one sent through again. Maya. Aha. What's the most exciting thing you've ever seen a leopard do?
Well, there's a few things. Just to see a leopard is a really amazing thing. Well, I think the most amazing thing was, probably not for you guys, but I said that leopard that crossed the road was quite amazing.
Yeah.
Because I was chasing her out for 2 years to take a photo of her. But one day I was hiding in a very thicket up a river in our study area. And I don't know if this is going to answer a question, but the leopard was actually calling on top of the mountain. And it walked down this mountain with a baboon footpath.
Okay.
came down the mountain. And the leopard was walking over this rock, and it was actually amazing to see it. I mean, the angle was about this. It's very, very steep. And as he came down this mountain, he was right in front of me. It was about 15 meters. And I was like, leopard. And there was 2 people with me as well. I said, leopard, it looks like a tiger. He's as big as a tiger. But it was for me amazing to see how they can adapt to areas like those mountainous areas, that they can go down that mountain. Maybe it doesn't mean a lot for some other people, but for me it was amazing to see them walking down that steep mountain.
Definitely.
But that was quite amazing for me to see. That he didn't slide down, he just walked down like it's nothing.
Sure, that really is quite incredible.
It was definitely incredible.
And you were actually saying that you were having a conversation with him the other night, I think, with the drum.
Yeah, as well. You can do that. You can call animals, and you have to be very careful. First of all, just to call animals, you mess them around. You interfere with their behavior, which is not a good thing. Secondly, then they can get used to the call as well, and then they start ignoring it. So if you want to catch an animal, especially if you call an animal, you need to get that animal again to take the collar off. Of course, you don't want the animal with the collar the rest of his life. You just keep the collar on as long as you need the data for. So you use the drum to call him in again, and that's what we use. Darren is using that same method as well to call them into the sets, and that's how you catch them. So when you call, you need to be careful. But yeah, you can call them in. I mean, they make that unique sound.
Oh, you do that so well, hey? You don't need a drum. So just to fill in people, Darren actually showed us how to make a drum, and I think it was actually the South Americans that originated this
the
whole
Indians
idea.
in South America.
And they had a drum, and they put a goat skin over the top and stretched it over the top, put a hole in the middle, and I think it's just what was
Just
that?
a leather string inside.
A leather string, that was it, with beeswax. Remember the beeswax? And you can actually pull it, and it actually makes the sound of a leopard, even a lion.
Yeah, it can do a lion. And then do a jaguar.
A jaguar, that was it. It was to hunt jaguar originally. So he actually showed us how to make that, and we did use it. And I think that night when we were actually doing it for the camera, I am sure he came down the mountain and he was there about 1 o'clock in the morning, because I heard Hardydars calling, and I looked outside and it was beautiful, full moon. I couldn't see anything, but I'm sure
especially
he was
when
there.
the bushbuck go off and the kudos.
Yeah, exactly.
But to come back to the drum as well, it's nice to use something they used hundreds of years ago to hunt something, and now we can use that same method to save something.
Yes, exactly.
Use it for conservation.
Definitely.
That's amazing.
Well, we do have another question coming through.
Aaron is asking, can you see the track if the animal has an injury or is sick, and how do you see this? From Helen and Aaron.
Helen and Aaron, good afternoon to you. And they would like to know, can you see if an animal's sick from its track? Obviously we've discussed the injuries, but can you tell
If it's got a sickness like any disease, then you probably can't see it, because that's something wrong inside the animal. But you will see the animal's behavior.
Yeah.
You will see it walks a lot and then lie down, and walks a bit and lie down and stay in a little area for more than they usually stay. So that's how you can pick it up. But she asked if I understand this correctly, is by the track itself.
Yeah.
When it's injured in the leg or the foot or something, then you can pick it up. Especially if you know the animal. You know the track is straightforward like this one. You can see the straddling length here as well. This animal was walking a normal pace. It wasn't walking very fast. When they walk slower, there's gap between your hind and your front foot, because your front foot will be here and your hind foot goes over. The slower the animal walks, the smaller the gap will get as well. And if it's stalking something, it will put the other foot into the foot. But if it's got an injury like it's in a fight, it might limping, and you will pick it up. You will see the other foot is probably deep into the sand. The other one is just touching the sand. It's not the same depth. So you can make it out if you track an animal closely. You can see it's got an injury in the leg or whatever. Definitely.
Oh, interesting.
You can get a lot of information. Just take the Bushman people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I was in a crew when my dad was born on that farm in that area, and they have Bushmen in that area, and they're excellent trackers. I went out with them as a small boy a few times, and what I can show you just by reading the track, what I call it when you go out in the morning is reading the early morning newspaper.
Yeah,
that's what happened last night. You can just read, you get the fresh news every day. Just this animal walked slowly. It stopped here and it was looking. You can see because of his behavior, it was busy hunting. So there's a lot of information there.
That I do find very interesting, to actually go out with a master tracker, that just a thought process that they go through, and they can actually say, right, just this little piece of information, it could just be a little mark like that, and say, right, this is this because of this mark here, and wow, it blows your mind.
It blows your mind.
It really does. I mean, I'm very, very basic, and I'd love to be able to learn a lot more, and it is going through, like yourself, just having a look at the tracks and taking the time to do it. And,
that's all you need to do, and I'm doing it a lot because it's my job.
Of course.
You need to get a lot of information out of the tracks in that area we're working in. Even in areas like this, it's the same. I mean, you can identify now, if you use the same method of teaching her now, if you use that, and then you can identify her and the other animals, this is the male and this is that female, you will start recognizing them, and you just need to get that eye tuned into it.
Exactly.
And you need to see that animal quite a lot as well, for a while, to get input into.
And to actually start to understand their behaviour as well. Because we actually following this cat's behaviour, and we actually did find it going in, and obviously scent marking a particular tree and coming out again. And if we actually do watch these boys, they are scent marking at the moment, and you do see them going off and spraying and then coming back out again. So
which is quite unique for them in their mother's territory to mark as well.
Exactly, and this is what I'm finding so interesting. Is the fact they're 2.5 years old, and yet she has cubs of 4.5 months old. Now I think they're actually approaching 5, and they're still here. What do you think would happen there?
What males normally do is, females, if they're lucky, they get a territory next to the moms. Let's say the cubs are young, and they move with the mom all the time. And the bigger they get, the more she will leave them alone. And what's amazing about leopards as well, they do learn from example, but they can also teach themselves, which is really interesting. When the mother leaves them alone, doing patrols or hunting, then they will just eat this and catch a bird. So they very, very quick to learn themselves as well. And they will spend less time with the mom. When they get bigger, sometimes she will try to expand her territory to make it a little bit bigger, and then she will stand a piece of her territory or kingdom, if you would like, off for them, and they will move in that area. And what they will do, will come out or go out and come back again into that area again, and then they stay in that area because it's secure for them. Her mom is protecting it. But especially the males, they will go for, like, I know about another guy where a male went out of that area for 8 months, and all of a sudden was back again.
Oh, sure.
So I think the males, which I can't prove at the moment, it's just my own judgment here, that they go more out and come back than the females.
I think the boys have been, because we do get reports, especially Mishu seems to go further north. From what I've seen of Induna, he tends to stick around a lot more. We see him a lot more than Mishu. But then he does. We won't see him for a few weeks, and then he'll come back again. We'll all of a sudden pop up. So I'm fairly convinced that's what they're doing. But as yet, even with them scent marking, Karula hasn't sort of checked up on them, and she hasn't kicked them out. And even the big males who are in this area also doesn't look like they've been tracking them either and trying to.
But I think you're going to get some action very soon. If they start marking, they're going to follow it up. But it's also a sign of a challenge, you know. I'm start marking here, and if you start marking, you're telling this is mine. Break it off, you know, it's hard. But it's very close. Just like 3,
so do we need to start putting dates and stuff like that on it? Or?
If you have a knife, we can do that as well. And I'm going to give that job to you. And that's it.
More pointed.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
You just put today's date in.
What is today's date, actually? Does anyone know?
If you live in the booth, you leave. Yeah,
you do,
exactly.
The 16th.
It's the 16th rank.
Okay.
Oh, there you go then.
Let's do.
Saturday, by the way.
Oh, is it Saturday today? I really have lost.
Well, the sun and the Monday in the bush is the same, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. There we go.
And that's
and
it.
then 2011.
I believe.
I believe that too. There we go. Cool.
That's it. Just put the name on. We're not quite sure who the leopard is, so we can't put the name or of the animal. So you can just put the date on that one, or the same as that one.
Yeah.
That's it. And maybe what you can put here as well is just M for Male.
Yep. And put it down here.
You want to get the GPS coordinates by any chance?
I was actually just about to ask that. But we are on Twin Dams Road. So maybe we could just put Twin Dams Road for now.
You can put what you want.
Google it.
But it's just nice to.
Yeah.
You can actually go on Google Maps if you have the GPS readings, and you can see exactly where you live at the tracks, which is actually a very good thing. And you can just mark it on Google Maps, and then you can see where you get the tracks. And the more you do that, like a period of a year or so, you can get a nice idea which routes they like to follow.
Of course, yeah.
So lots of things. I mean, with the technology we have these days, you
It's
can
amazing.
do amazing things.
And I think that's a lot to do with it. That's why we're starting to see a lot more behaviour that maybe we'd never seen before, because it's actually really is opening up so many opportunities, and there's because of that there's more questions that people are researching.
Exactly. I mean, if you some people, maybe some of your guys have this in your mind as well. People ask you, when you call an animal, doesn't it bother the animal? But it's like when you wear a watch, you get used to that.
Exactly.
First day it feels funny on your arm, and then afterwards you get used to it. And the other thing is as well, you don't have to follow an animal 24/7.
Yeah.
So you don't interfere with the animal's behavior.
Exactly.
And how it works, it works with GPS as well. The collar will take a reading, GPS reading, and then the leopard actually phones you, to say plainly, when it gets a network. So you can put it on 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, just the way you like. When it's in signal at the same time, it will use a cell phone, send all the frequencies down to the specific site.
Okay, so it
You have
actually
all the
stores.
colours.
So
It
if
stores
it's
them, yeah.
so if it's out of the signal,
Yeah. It's
then at that particular moment the GPS is stored, and then it moves on, and then and then as soon as it's in the signal area, those will be uploaded. And
if it's trying to make a download for 6 o'clock and it's in the signal area, it will give you all the backups
awesome.
for 2 or 3 months.
Oh wow.
You can store hundreds of GPS points.
That
So
is
you get all that back
amazing.
data. So like we're lucky, it's in a very mountainous area, so the cell phone reception there is not good.
Yeah.
And it disappears for 3-4 months, and all of a sudden, you make all those downloads, and we're all like sitting in fun.
Yeah. So we got a question here from WePat. I just need it to be sent through again. Just see what she's asking. Have you ever had any close calls while casting a track? Thanks,
To be-
WePat.
Thanks a lot for that question. Sometimes you wish you have a close encounter because you can see the animal, but no, to be honest with you, I never had one while I was making a cast. Just don't try to make a cast as the animal walk down the road, and then you will get hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
But no.
Especially an elephant. Of the animals, should have some chance of seeing them. Now, one track I did really enjoy finding a few days ago was the aardvark. Actually found the aardvark track. So great to know that there is one in the area at least. I just hope he stays put.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Come on, Gunda Gunda. I think we're just going to bypass Chelapan and we'll head straight down towards Twin Dams Road. Maybe maybe have a look out there. And if anybody was on drive with us a couple of days ago, we last had Induna and her cubs also in this area, so I wonder if he was walking up, caught the scent of a trail and turned direction and went straight into this block here.
That's possible.
It is. Ooh, what have we got here? Antelope. Good afternoon, stations. I'm going to be checking around from down. After that, how many stations are responding? Copy. Can I also respond? 3 rhinos have been seen just on the eastern side. I think we'll go and have a look at those first. When was the last time you saw a rhino?
About 5 or 6 weeks ago.
5 or 6 weeks ago, whereabouts? Southern Sound. Okay.
Southern side.
On the southern side. Okay, well it's not too far from where we are, so I think we can make a little detour. Hi John, welcome on board this afternoon. I think you may have missed Anton's answer a little bit earlier. He's asking if you can tell the difference with a track if an animal is injured or not. So maybe Herman can actually let us know if they can hear you, Anton. So it'd be nicer if you can.
I want to know the difference by the track of a male and a female leopard.
If the general health of the track, or whether if it's got an injury or a different weight distribution on the track. So if we maybe get to twin dams, maybe we can stop there so people can actually hear you. So I'm sure they'd like to hear your answer. I'm just a bit worried that they're not going to be able to hear you. And maybe we can hear 1 or 2 animal noises.
Yeah, the hippo.
Rhino was here. There could have been some hippo there too. So let's see if we can just park here and just have a quick look to see if there's any cats around sleeping. See if we can hear you answering the question from John.
Oh,
do you...
yeah, sorry.
No worries.
My head was somewhere else for a second. Now, if you have a look at the tracks of an animal, you could,
Okay. No?
like you asked.
Okay, we're going to try and see if we can turn up the audio a little bit.
Okay.
Ah, we can try that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, John, if you see a track an animal, your questions, if I understand right, is can you see if it's injured or sick? If the animal has got some disease, you can't pick it up, except if you track the animal for a while and see if it's lying down too much, not really moving slow. So you need to look at the behavior. But if the animal have an injury, was in a fight, and the paw is, twisted a little bit, or it's got an injury on the leg, you will see it's limping. Then you will see if it walks on soft sand, for instance, the animal walks and let's say the left foot is injured, the left paw, and the right paw will be really deep into the sand, and the left foot will just probably touching the ground, or just avoiding totally touching the ground. Then you will see it's injured on the left paw, or when it's just limping a little bit deep, put it deeper in, so and that way you can actually see if it's injured or not. But if it's sick, you need to look at the behavior. If that answers your questions.
Yeah. And if we can just have a quick look at the track, I think everyone missed. I think everybody did miss seeing the track, so hopefully are you able to see that? We have that one there. And this one. These two side by side.
And this is the front, and this is the hind. Let's see here. This is the front here, the one on the left, and this one on the right is your hind one. And the reason is, you guys have missed it, if you look at the track itself here, as I show you here, it's round. And it's
Okay, I just need to use the audio.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Actually. Waiting to get confirmation. Okay, let's give it a go.
Let me give it a go.
Yep.
If you guys look at the track on the left here, is your front foot.
Oh, no audio. Okay, we'll give it one more go. Can you hear us now? I hope so. Okay. Good to go.
If you guys look on the left track here, on this left one, you can see it's the front foot. It's round. You can look at the toes here, it's nicely spread around the main pad. And also the shape of the main pad. And if you look on the one on the right here, you can see it's the hind. And the reason is it's more elongated, which is a very good thing to look at, or you need to keep in mind. And the shape of the main pad as well. And you can also see the space between your toes and your main pad here, as you can probably see here, it's a male, because the space between your main pad and your toes are much smaller. With
clear track there. Awesome. I'm going to give that back to you to put there. So we don't...
Keep this for you as a souvenir.
Oh, definitely. I'd love that. So, have you got a couple of animal noises before we move off?
Yeah, well, if you guys, I can do it quickly. This is the blackback jackal. You guys probably seen some blackback jackal
Not
on
too
game
often,
drive.
actually.
Not much,
No, maybe once or twice, but,
Really?
But not really too many.
Maybe because of the lots of leopard activity in the area, and they just push them out. Yeah.
I think so.
Well, anyway, this is a jackal sound, and this is one of the most beautiful sounds for me in the bush. When you sit around a fire, and you hear this jackal in the distance calling, and it sounds like this. That is a blackback jackal.
That is incredible. That is spot on.
And my favorite, of course, is the leopard one, and it sounds like.
Some people would like you to do some owls, but I'll
Okay, I'll do some else.
Yeah.
I'll just do this the leopard quickly. When a female calls her cubs, and it's sometimes very soft, you can't hear it very well, but they act like a. And when they call afterwards, it goes like. very deep, what we say a sawing sound. It sounds like somebody sawing wood. And somebody asked to make an owl, isn't it?
Make an owl, yeah. But that again was spot on here. We've actually heard Karula for 3 hours solidly calling the cubs. And this was Misha and Induna, and we actually think that was it. That was the cut-off point. She called and they didn't respond. And we think that was actually the time when they became independent.
And so, this is a good time for them to start calling, I mean, just before getting dark. And they call, and then they'll keep quiet for about 20-30 minutes and you'll hear them again. So when you hear a leopard, not always you hear it immediately again. You just need to give it a couple of minutes before you hear them again. But it's also advertisement to say, I'm in this area, you know. Of course, they do overlap as well. And they were warning each other, you know, I'm in this area, keep away, I'm hunting here now at the moment. And this, for instance, 2 males, this guy knows he's bigger than me, so I'll just keep away from this bit of territory. And when he moves out, I can move in again. So that's what they do. But we have do have owls in our area as well. My favorite ones in that area is the spotted eagle owl, rather, and then your wood owl. And the wood owl is, I would say, is my favorite of all the owls. You have the female, she's like, woo, and then the male will be, woo, sometimes lower, or he'll be like, woo, 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 woo. And then the female, woo, at very high pitch, woo, answer him. So this is, and you can call them in, if you want to, you can actually call them in. And then you have your spotted eagle owl, he's like, woo, woo, and your female will answer back, woo, woo. So that's the difference between the male. The male is just 2 times, and the female,
Okay.
So
I never knew that.
my another favorite one is the go away bird. It's like, that's also one of my favorite ones.
That's awesome, eh?
I'm like my grandfather. My dad said, sadly he died when my dad was 16, but he was the same. He used to make the sounds of animals, and I think I just followed these tracks.
Definitely, you spot on. I definitely want to hear some more, but I think let's see if we can try and get to these rhinos. And see if we can put you on the spot for a few more. But I must admit, I love the wood owl as well, and it always sounds to me like someone's tickling it. It's going, ooh, ooh. You know, someone's tickling it. I just love it. Okay. Actually, you know what? I think we are going to go Mamba Road. I just wanted to check down here for any signs of the cats. And I was going to take Gary Main down onto Cheetah Cliff Line. I've just changed my mind because I would like to just check out Mamba Road for any tracks, just in case she crossed out. Because as I say, the last tracks I had of Karoo and the cubs was in this block here. I haven't been finding anything else coming out. We did have heavy rain that night, so she could have crossed over and obviously everything wiped out. So I think, let's see if we can have a look.
May I ask why you call it Mamba Road?
I would love to find out. I don't know if it's to do with the fact that they saw a mamba there, or whether it's long and thin, or long and straight. But yeah, I'd love to find out that story. I was just saying to everybody back home, a couple of days ago when we were driving along it, I'd love to know the story about Mamba Road. So I'll have to try and find out from Texan or Hendry or someone in the area. Lynn in Canada. Good afternoon to you, Lynn. And again, I might just have to relay the answer to everyone. But she would like to know, she knows that Leidenberg is very hilly. And is there an opportunity to go and track on foot, or do you still use a vehicle?
No, you can track on foot, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Track on foot, not a problem.
And it's just very mountainous, like you said. So So it's very difficult to find tracks in good condition there, except if you get sandy patches. So it's difficult to track animals. Here it's quite easier because lots of sand.
Yeah, just in case you didn't catch that, it's very difficult to track animals there, because obviously it being very mountainous, and the tracks don't register as nicely as they do here. Rhino midden that's been used quite a lot. Seen a lot of action. Yeah, I love that smell.
So this is one of our favourite spots, you said?
Yeah, this is one of the favourite spots. We've seen Karuna around here a lot. And as I say, she may have found somewhere to drop the cubs off in this block here and continue to go on hunting. And what we did find quite incredible was when we followed her the other day after I showed you that spot where she was. We followed her down towards another dam just on the western side, and she sat in a tree for a little while, watched out what was going on. She climbed down and she left, and it didn't look like she gave a sign to the cubs, but they took it as they had to stay. And she walked off, leaving the cubs with us. And the cubs came out and sat on the road about 3 or 4 meters in front of us. Quite amazing.
It's like you never get used to a leopard sighting.
No, you don't get used to them.
It's always amazing to see a leopard.
Very, very true. Okay, how are we doing on that side? Good afternoon to you, John. Welcome on board. And I think this is just a general question. I think you're just asking if we were to see the cubs today, what changes, if any, apart from size, would occur on the cubs? Oh, on the tracks. On the tracks. Okay. So he just wants to know: is there any changes that would actually occur on the tracks as they grow older?
Not really. When they get older.
As they grow older.
Yeah. Well, as they grow older, yeah, definitely.
Apart from
age,
the size.
because they get wear and tear.
Yeah.
So the corners will probably go more rounded.
Okay, so Anton's saying the corners will probably go more rounder on the pads because of wear and tear.
And we get probably more cracks as well.
And more cracks in the pads themselves because of all the walking that they do. Okay, anything on that side yet? Hi Janet, good afternoon to you. And asking who do we think the track is from in the cast? Well, definitely a male, and my money is, I think we've been seeing Mishu around there a lot recently. I think it was Mishu, just judging by where we saw in Duna later on, I think a day ago. But I could be wrong, it could be in Dunas. I don't think it's one of the bigger males, but I could be wrong. That's my thought. What would you say, sort of, could you guesstimate the age from that track? Not really.
The age of the animal?
Yeah. Could you guesstimate the age?
It's difficult to say. That's really just going to be a guess.
Yeah.
I would say between 5 years to 8 years.
5 to 8 years. So Anton's reckoning possibly one of the older males. Quite possibly. So maybe it is young Bibi or Dan. Could be. Could be. It certainly would be. I would love to be able to find out for sure. And we're certainly going to have to take the measurements and all that and actually put it to the test. Next time we see one of the boys, I have to quickly jump out afterwards and see if we can measure those tracks. certainly would be quite interesting. As you say, we can file it away, and we can actually do a bit of investigation, so if we can actually put the track to the animal.
That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Exactly. So it's definitely not over yet. This is the first stage.
So it looks like I started another disease on this side.
I think so.
Disease.
Anton's saying, looks like I started another casting disease here. I think everywhere that he goes and he shows people, I think they also get the bug, Mary. Hi, Daniel. Got a question from you, but we're not too sure exactly what you're asking. Something about servals, but if you can maybe send it in again. I don't know if it's, can you still do the same with servals, or do you like servals, something like that. But we'll see if we can get the question again. Ah, okay. Could we find a serval? We have found serval here before. Probably about 8 months ago, 9 months ago, myself and Mark were out on drive, and we did find a serval on the quarantine area. So it is possible. It is always possible. Okay, apparently these rhinos should be somewhere around here. Is any station still with the Incombi at Junction Mamba Road and Cheetah Good Line?
Yeah, not yet, but we just trying to go
Ah, they crossed over already. Copy that, sorry, my radio's turned down, thank you. Okay, unfortunately, the rhinos have crossed over. But it does mean we're going to try and do a couple of zigzags and see if we can pick up any of the tracks. And I do wonder if she's around Gary Dam. She seems to like that area a lot at the moment, and there's plenty of food that side.
You found as well here that they have their favourite spots.
Yes, definitely. We have found, Anton's asking if we've found here, do they have their favourite spots? And certainly. Actually, there's a question. I was asked quite a while ago now, and I haven't had any chance of answering it. I was asked quite a while ago, do leopards choose the same trees to stash their kills in if they're in the same area? Have you ever found that?
I've seen it before.
Okay.
My personal opinion is not that common.
Yeah.
But they do have their favourite spots where they hunt, of course. And if there's a good tree, like, for instance, this, like in front of us, this marula tree here. And they always usually get impala in this area. Because I found before that a leopard was dragging a kill for 350 meters.
Wow. So Anton was just saying that he's seen a leopard dragging a kill for 350 meters. And you were saying you haven't noticed it too much, maybe a few times, but not really to cement it.
I think for them it's just in an area like this where you have lions and hyenas. When they make a kill, they just want to get it away from the competition as soon as possible. So they're not going to risk losing a kill to get to a tree they used before. They're just going to get it away as soon as possible. I think if you think of it that way, it makes perfect sense.
So I've not noticed any sort of favourite trees. I've noticed favourite areas, but not favourite trees.
Yeah.
But then again, I haven't really seen too many kills in trees, even over a year.
Yeah.
It's still quite a sight to see. And, something we definitely get excited about, finding a leopard in a tree.
And I found it in our area as well that your kills are mainly done on the ground. We've seen them maybe 3 or 4 times. I have to look at the figures, but about 3 or 4 times. There was in a tree.
Okay.
So I figured that there was a hyena bothering it, because we only have brown hyenas in that area, not spotted hyenas. So, but no, mainly they put it on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's all to do with competition, and of course that will change the behavior a little bit. So all those things you need to keep in mind to do research.
Yeah, because up in the north we didn't find the leopards having kills in trees that often, whereas here there's a lot of hyena, there can be a lot of lion, even other leopards, and we do find they do put a lot of the kills in trees, but we have also found them on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the boys end up losing them
Yeah.
as soon as the sun goes down.
And that's so nice about a research like we do as well. If you go on a piece of land and you don't know the history of the animals, maybe the history of the system there, just need to look at the animal's behavior. And just the behavior itself will tell you a lot what's going on in that system.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually.
It's got a chain reaction. If something happens somewhere, it's just got a chain reaction. You just need to follow that. And that's what research is all about, just to figure all those things out.
Yeah, and it does, it gets very interesting. Eh? Well, if anybody missed that, unfortunately, the rhinos that were around here did head east, and the guys who had them tried to follow it up, but they have gone east. So we're going to carry on and zigzag. So I think we're going to take Battalier Road, and then we'll come back along Vulture's Nest and see if we can pick up any tracks of Karula, and then we'll zigzag up onto Buffelshoek Hook Dam, and maybe back along Buffelshoek Hook Creek Line and down Gowrie Creek Line. So we've got a little area to cover, and failing that then we'll head down towards Treehouse Dam again. But you can see this road has a lot of tracks. Gets a lot of action here.
Forward a little bit.
Just want to check out this side too. Good afternoon to you, Ryan. Welcome on board the Gunda this afternoon. I'm wanting to know, do we carry a weapon while we're driving? We don't, Ryan. And the main weapon that we have is our minds. And as long as we listen to the animals and respect the animals, there shouldn't be any need to fear the animals, and we shouldn't be getting any negative reaction from them. And obviously occasionally, just like humans, you may get an individual who's having a bad day, or maybe they've just had something bad that's happened in the past in their life, especially animals that move over quite large areas like the elephants. And you may get an individual who's not as approachable as other animals, and you always have to keep that in the back of your mind. But whenever we approach an animal, we always check what they're telling us. What is their behaviour? Are they okay with us approaching? Are they not okay? And we did have a rhino that I haven't recognised before a couple of days ago. And to begin with, he was a little bit edgy. He wasn't too sure about us being there. And eventually, after a little while, we actually respected his space. And he settled down, and he actually ended up sleeping while we were there. So a lot of it is to do with how you approach the animals and how much space you give them. And if you were to drive right up to an animal and sit maybe 4 or 5 meters, you're actually getting right into the face. And it's just like a human. I really wouldn't appreciate someone who, even if I knew them, going right up into my face, and especially if I'd just woken up or just had a meal or something. I really wouldn't appreciate that, and it's the same thing. So if you approach them calmly and slowly and give them their space, generally the animals will often come to you, especially if you park maybe close to where they're going to be walking and you sit there quietly, and they may just walk right past the vehicle. And that's exactly what happened with Karula the other day. And some of you are lucky enough to catch us just outside of normal game drive. We actually found Karula. She'd popped out of the bush, crossed over the wall of Gowrie Dam, and we were able to catch up with her. And we sat there and she just walked right down the side of the vehicle. And Daniel was with us that morning, and I'm definitely going to be asking Daniel about that tomorrow in Fireside Chat. So Daniel can share that experience. And if anybody would like to join us on Fireside Chat to meet Daniel, who is behind camera at the moment, in case anybody is just joining us, then you're going to be able to meet him tomorrow at 7 o'clock Central Africa time. But for the time being, Anton is joining us all the way from the Ingwe Leopard project. And you can see, Anton, this is quite a well-used junction again.
Yeah, it's a good place or spot.
It's a very good junction. So I think let's head back down this way. So we're going to take Drakensberg Drive, we're going to go down Battalier Road, and we'll come up onto Nyala Road North as we head towards Buffelshoek Dam. Sometimes you get the big males, the big leopards walking down here. They like this area a lot.
Why would you think?
I'm Mvula, who's the big male that's off this side. This is as far east or far west of his territory as I think he goes onto here. So I think this is a boundary between two males. I think this is where the overlap is. So that's possibly why we do get. I've even seen Mafufanyan up here on occasion, and he usually operates down in the south. So I think possibly that's why there's a lot of action here. Mvula was here the other day. He's a beautiful big male leopard. Unfortunately, the clouds are hiding the sun, which does start to make it a little bit more difficult for tracking.
Yeah, you need good sun.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about it. You can probably explain to the people now as well, because it's on Vietnamese. The sun is very important if you track. Early morning and late afternoon, it's good because the sun is low and it puts the shadow in the track.
Yeah.
If the sun is out the top, it's out the track because it shines directly to the track.
So just in case you missed what Anton was saying there, saying that the sun is very useful when you are tracking. You need the sun early morning or late in the afternoon. I think it coincides with golden hour for photographers. That beautiful first morning light or the late afternoon light, and it casts the shadows in the track, which makes it a lot easier to see them. Whereas when it's cloudy like this, you don't get the shadows, or if the sun's right overhead, it doesn't cast those shadows in the track. It makes it much more difficult.
If you walk with the sun, it's difficult.
Yeah, if you walk with the sun. That's it. I'm saying you walk against the sun, so you have the sun, the track, and you.
But you can't always do that, because if you track down here and the sun is over there, or behind you, you can't, you just have to look back as you walk. Yeah.
I'm just going to try putting another microphone on so everyone can hear. Yeah. So I'm just going to try and keep covering a little bit more ground. So I'd love to show Anton Karula, because you've never seen Karula, hey?
No,
You haven't?
Don't lose the cameraman.
No, the cameraman's very important, eh? And the aerial. Oh, what have we got here? We've got some tracks here. Ah, we do. Hyena. Nice hyena tracks there.
They can also walk for hours and kilometers on the same road. Or down the road.
I'm actually amazed at how much road Karula does walk on. I mean, she was doing it again the other day. She came out just by Gary Dam, and we were sat there on the wall, and she was almost looking. Am I going to go that way? Or am I going to go that way? She decided no, she's going to go up on the dam wall, walk across the wall, and down on the road. And I really am. I know animals do use the roads a lot, but I'm still astounded at how much. Especially the leopards use the roads.
Because of the experience in the area we work. Very mountainous, and they also use the roads a lot. Easy access area to area. Sometimes they do hunt off the roads as well.
Yeah. And Anton's just saying, obviously with the area being so mountainous, the leopards do make good use of the roads to get from A to B very easily. How are we doing on that side? Is there any tracks there? Oh, thanks, Penny. Penny's saying that it's pouring with rain in Durban, so that cold front's probably going to hit us. As I say, the temperature is dropping now, and I can still feel that humidity. Again, if ever you've been or live in a hot country, and you've had that humidity, and it makes your skin almost sticky. It's starting to feel a bit like that, even though the temperature's quite cool now. Oh, nice. Vulture just up in the tree. It looks like a white-backed vulture.
I would say so, yeah.
And while we're stopped, we can ask a question from Jody in New Mexico. Good evening to you, Jody. And Jody would like to know, is there an animal, specific animal you'd like to see while you're here?
Well,
Karula.
you got it. That's a leopard, of course, yeah. I would like to see a leopard. Beautiful.
Stunning, hey? That wingspan.
It looks like a cargo plane when they take off, like what you see now when they're taking off, and then you see them from behind. It just looks like those big cargo planes.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
And they fly very, very far. Like the one they put a transmitter on. At Maholo Holo, we usually keep our leopards when we have to, for injuries and so on, we keep them there. And this one moved all the way down with the Drakensberg mountain range. It's over 1,000 kilometers, far over 1,000, about 1,800, and came all the way back again.
Awesome.
It's amazing.
And I've even heard that they've seen the same ones in South Africa and in Botswana. They also put a transmitter
exactly.
on.
In Palaborwa.
Yeah.
Not Palaborwa actually, and close to Messina.
Yeah.
We fly all the way down to the Kruger Park in one day and let's go back again.
It's incredible, hey? Such beautiful birds. Now, it did actually just land in another tree a bit further on, but I think it was just sitting a little bit high to really
get a good shot, yeah, because it's very bright in the back.
But there's also, obviously, the first thing you think about when you see vultures is there a kill around? I think with him being quite high on his own, I don't think that's the case, unfortunately.
I'm just thinking about somebody asked a question, what have you seen, something interesting about a leopard?
Yes.
And which was actually interesting one day, just thinking about it when I see this vulture, I actually forgot about this incident, is a leopard made a kill, an impala, dragged it over the road and hoisted up into a tree. And we think what happened afterwards, because of the signs what was left, she came back again and obvious found this vulture and killed the vulture.
Oh wow.
And according to the marks in the front here and the neck, it looks like a leopard. So why did the leopard kill the vulture? Because it was eating its food, its kill, was scavenging from the kill. Why?
That's quite interesting.
I've never heard of that one before. Lions killing or jackal, but not leopard. And she just left it there. She didn't eat it.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question actually. So she just left it. She just killed it and left it.
Just left it, yeah.
That's quite amazing, eh? Our vulture did go. I think our vulture was picking a tree to roost in.
Yeah, it's time for bed.
Yeah, definitely time for bed.
But luckily for the leopard, it's the morning now.
Yeah, generally.
Generally.
You're saying luckily for the leopard, it's the morning now. As we were discussing earlier, not always the case. Sorry, little Franklins.
I call them leopard alarms.
Yeah, they are.
Leopards in the area,
Yeah, Anton's just saying the Franklins are leopard alarms, which they definitely are. And here the squirrels, definitely the squirrels are leopard alarms, and the monkeys. I've actually found the monkeys are the most useful.
Yeah.
Monkeys are usually very accurate.
Because they have a very
Squirrels.
specific call.
Now you see, I've heard that, and I've heard that they do actually have specific calls, but I've only ever heard the call for the leopard. Have you ever heard the calls for the birds? And
Yeah.
have you?
Yeah.
And how does that differ?
A leopard, when you see a predator like a leopard, is like.
Yeah, actually, let me stop the car because we want to hear your sound.
Probably give it to the guys. Yeah. When a leopard or a monkey picks up a leopard, they make like a sound. But when they see a bird of prey, it's like. And they all look up immediately. And I've seen it before. And they all even have a clicking sound for snakes. I haven't seen that, but I've heard about it. So when they make this clicking sound, they will see like a python thing.
Yeah, because
So
I've
they do have
wanted
different
to.
calls,
I've really wanted to hear the difference because I've only ever heard for leopard.
Yeah.
And we actually had him doing a flat in the ground, and the monkeys were giving the alarm call, but only every so often. I said, that's really odd.
Yeah.
So we went to look, couldn't find him, and they were still going throughout the day. They were in the same tree, they were going throughout the day, and only in the afternoon did we actually find him 3 meters from where it turned around, flat in the grass. And it was only every so often they were doing the call.
Yeah.
And it was almost half-hearted,
Yeah.
but they were still doing it. Quite
But
amazing.
if you spend lots of time in the bush, like you do and I do, you pick up certain things.
You do.
You get the language. in
Yeah.
other words. They speak a specific language and you pick it up.
Definitely. But I've yet to see a bird flying over and them giving the call.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, I'm actually quite pleased that I've actually heard the difference now. So it's more of just a single syllable.
Yeah.
And they immediately look up instead of on the ground. Just coming to the end of Battalier Road. So we're just going to see if there is any tracks of Kuruda, because we haven't seen her for a few days. And we haven't seen any tracks of her either, so that's why we're just doing these other roads where she might have gone, just in case we find the tracks of her. And we'll try Vulture's Nest next. And again, quite a well-travelled riverbed. We've got
Some nice hyena tracks over here.
Lots of canyon tracks there. They do like to use this riverbed a lot. And even Karula, we found Karula here a few times.
Leopards love it.
Just gonna- So we're actually on the other side of that main riverbed where there's a little pan just at the back there, Cello Pan. This is the main riverbed. I'm actually just wondering, maybe we should take Nyana Road south, because I did see there's some rhino tracks heading this way. And they were cutting through, and we have seen Karula on this road. What's that there? All those tracks there. They also have hyena over there. Nothing?
Can you hear something? Sorry, it's my fault. I thought I had an alarm call.
Ah, always worth checking out. I'm hearing the Southern Bobo there.
You can hear the grey-headed strike as well. Look back at.
No, you're right, there is. There's a squirrel there. There is a squirrel calling. Let's go and just check out Cello Pan quickly. That was so close. There is a squirrel calling that side. There's a rhino. And I think this is our territorial bull by the looks of it. Possibly be. Where are you going, mister? You're going to come out this side? Listening to us approaching. Ah, it's a blunt-horned female. So I wonder where her calf is. going to see where she's going. I'm hoping she's going to come out here. There we go.
Also nice to see them.
It is, yeah. So prehistoric looking.
Like the runners in India as well. It looks like a fencer. Fencer car.
Like her, but I didn't see underneath the tail though. It's the blunthorn female. She has quite a thick blunt horn, but I don't know if there's a lot of mud on that one, so it could actually be short-horned male rhino. I don't actually look too closely between the legs now. He's moving off there, but she should have a calf with her if it is. But just the thickness of the horn, it definitely looked like it. It's probably about 3.5 years old.
Cow?
Young male. Young male. Oh, there he is. He is there. There we go. As they disappear off. I'm not hearing that squirrel anymore though.
And this is very dense as well. A leopard can disappear and disappear so quickly.
Oh, very, very true.
What I like about leopards is if they want you to see them, they will disappear. They feel they want to be by themselves, they just
They
disappear
do,
again.
they just vanish. Okay, she's turning back around. I think she might follow the car. And generally, female calves will stay a little bit longer with their mothers than male calves. You can get females maybe 6 or 7 years old, right up until they mature, staying with the mothers, and they may even have another calf with them. So you may see 3 female or three rhinos. So even this young male who's with her at the moment, if she has another calf, he may stay or he may go and hang around with a couple of other males in a bachelor group, which usually a little bit older that would happen. But I have seen a young male about 3.5 years old split off when his mother had another calf, and he actually split off with his sister, and she was about 6, and the young female and male went off together, and it was almost as if she was a surrogate mother, and their joint mother had the next calf who was also a little male. I don't think I'm going to be able to follow us through there. I'm going to see if we can catch them on the other side there, on the other side of the road. Also another very, very popular pathway for these rhinos as well as the leopards. I've seen them use this pathway a lot. destination's local 2 and Combi Fambring south from Chelapan. Should be about level with where we were. Actually, it's quite thick here. Oh well. Yeah, unfortunately, folks, I think we're going to have to leave them. It's very thick in the bush there. I was hoping maybe they would have just migrated towards the road here. I think they're just going to stay in the bush. Hi Naomi. Good afternoon to you, Naomi. Good to hear from you. Wanting to know about the vulture. There's quite a big patch of feathers that are missing on the chest, which looks like there's a hole there, and is it the case? Not to my knowledge, Naomi. I think there would be, if there was there, I think there would be a big problem with the bird. I've never actually noticed the feathers being so sparse. Have you? They're pretty sparse there. Yeah.
It's got a full crop.
Yeah. Maybe that's what you were seeing. Yeah. Anton's just saying maybe if it's got a full crop and they look like it's a hole, the crop actually comes out, and the crop is where they store some food. And especially with the white-backed vultures, they may get bullied by some of the larger vultures, like the lapid-faced vultures. And they'll tend to fill their crop very quickly and then move away to actually digest it. So maybe that's what you're seeing, is the birds with full crops. I hadn't actually thought about that. Good afternoon to you, Monty. Shalom. Hope you're well. Wanting to know what's the fastest between the rhino, the elephant, and the buffalo. Between the elephant and rhino, they're pretty similar actually. Probably about 40-45 kilometers they can run at. Buffalo slightly faster, about 55 kilometers an hour. Maybe speed to weight, that the animal shifts. I would say maybe the elephant. I would say buffalo, you're looking about maybe 800 kilos, maybe a ton for a large buffalo. Rhino, you're looking maybe about 2.5 tons. Elephant, maybe about 4 to 6 tons.
They're pretty quick.
Yeah, they are pretty quick. Certainly outrun a human, that's for sure. You alright there? Is it chilly, eh?
No, I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
It's much colder where I'm from.
It does say in Leidenberg. I must admit, I got very cold in Leidenberg when I visited. Especially at, what was it, 12 o'clock when we actually went out to see Lucky the leopard. And I think I must have had a good 6 layers on that night. I think I still had to borrow a jacket, didn't I?
Everybody was thick.
Yeah. That was, when was it was around June, May, June.
Yeah, it was in June.
Yeah, I think May or June. Good evening. Just left the lock of Tuancombe Farnborough south from Chelapan. Apart from that, I haven't heard anything else. Texan, if you can copy me, I had Tuancombe. They found it south from Chelapan. I'm not in the lock anymore. Bronze wing courser on the road here. Too far around the corner.
Beautiful moon here, right?
See their long thin legs, and that's perfect for how they hunt. They'll scurry after things, and you can see he's running and stopping, and having a look around, see if there's any insects that have been disturbed or any predators that might be watching him. But those long legs are able to run after those insects that they do disturb.
He's unhappy.
Definitely here in the Franklins. Although, I don't find the Franklins as reliable as the monkeys. They always seem to be bothered by something.
Yeah, it's not to say it's a leopard. It can be anything.
You still see the bronze wing courser?
Yeah.
Just. Actually, just before we move off, maybe we can have a quick look at the moon. I think it's very close to being full moon, maybe tomorrow. Could be full moon.
Some people call the hunter's moon, I just call the leopard's moon.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. Of course, a lion can do a lion roll.
Lion is very, very difficult. I can do maybe a female when she calls her cub is like but deep sound. As close as I can get on that one.
That's better than me.
And then I hear that Franklin at the back is the Swanson's Franklin, what is now the Spurfell Franklin.
Swainson's Spurfell.
Swanson's Spurfell Franklin. And that's also a call I like to make. It's when one of my favorite ones.
You definitely do them very well. Well, I think our moon is going to be covered by the cloud. Let's see if we can continue on. I would like to try and see if we can head up towards Buffelshoek Dam. I think it's just probably a little bit too early to start using this spot just yet. Bronze-winged horses are generally nocturnal birds, although can be crepuscular as well, being active this time of day through dusk and dawn. Up to the side of the lawn. Been taking lessons from the Frankins. What are we doing? Okay. I never know, we might be lucky with a striped weasel. You never know. Apparently they are in the area. Yep. And I've never seen one. I'd love to see a striped weasel and a striped polecat. I'd love to see one of those as well. Also known as a Rilla. I did show everybody a picture of them the other day. Yeah. I'll have to see if we can show a picture again on Drive at some stage. This is also very favourite spot. Still no tracks of Karula. But she does. Sometimes she does this. She'll disappear for a few days or a few weeks, and all of a sudden she'll pop up again. I think just as you were saying, the leopards, if they don't want to be seen, they'll go and hide. Yeah, I think so. I think it's getting to that stage. We're actually going to take one of the roads back down towards Gowrie Dam, and oh, there's a rhino here on the right. Another rhino. After a lack of them at the beginning. Let's see if I can. Well, we're not going to be able to put a spotlight on him. Rhinos are not a great lover of spotlights. He seems through there. It's shining just to the right of him, just to see if we can put a little bit of light on them without actually having to. I can't see the length of the horn. Can you see the length of the horn, Daniel? Because I'm wondering if this is the same male that we saw the other day. It goes through the teak trees. There he goes. I think we're going to leave the rhino because he's going to head into the bush. As I say, it's not too bad at this point. It's still fairly light. As I say, they're not a great lover of the spotlight, so we're not going to follow him in. I think was the question from Patty. Good evening to you, Patty. Welcome on board. I hope you're well. And she's wanting to know the leopard call. Does it tell the other leopards how big they are, how strong they are?
It gives you a lot of information, definitely, and they also recognize each other. When a leopard calls, if you ask me, and it's probably not proven, but I think they recognize the call, so they know who it is. So otherwise they don't decide them.
I think so. So just to give you guys the answer, saying that they probably do recognise each other's calls, and they can get a lot of information from that call. And I think I would actually go as far as, I mean, even just the deepness of the call, and even maybe the length of the call, the loudness of the call. I mean, if the animal is quite large, then he should be able to produce a much louder sound.
They do.
Yeah, so Anton's saying they do. And for me, I definitely agree with you there, Anton. I think they would be able to recognise each other's calls. Because there may be some subtle differences, and we can even hear differences in, if you're very good, you can actually hear differences in lions. You can actually recognise individuals. So if we as humans can do that with lions, I can't see any reason why cats couldn't do the same especially leopards too.
Definitely a very good question.
Definitely. Thanks, Patty. Anton's saying very good question. So we're just making our way to Buffelshoek Dam here. We're going to have a quick look around the dam before heading back towards Gowrie Cliffline and having a look on Gowrie Cliffline at Karula's one of her favourite spots, the Jackleberry tree. Having not found any of her tracks anywhere here in the east, I think she must be somewhere still close by, maybe around the quarantine area or Chelapan. I think Texan did try around Treehouse Lounge earlier. In that area. Sounds like a water thickening corner. Yeah, the hippo are there. Quick look at the hippo. I don't want to stay too long with them. We've actually got a very, very small baby. Oh, have you seen it? Very small baby. How's your hippo impersonation? Not so good. Let's say a quick hello to Mummy Hippo.
It's a very deep voice they have.
It is. I think baby is actually there. You can just see it behind Mama Hippo.
Very dark.
It's very, very dark. There's another hippo calling. While they're actually looking right at us for us to bounce some light, it's actually going to shine right into the eyes, so it's not going to be too nice for them. If they're out on the bank, then we could actually bounce some light on the ground, but unfortunately
Coming towards them.
yeah, he is coming towards us. Can you actually see a little bit, or not too much?
Not great, yeah. I'm just picking up a black shape.
Maybe Herman can tell us if we can see the hippos. No. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll leave the hippos. We don't want to blind them. We got sidetracked by the rhinos, otherwise we would have been here a little bit earlier. Say hello to Mama Hippo. And I think a lot of people in the chat room have called the baby hippo Bubbles. Bubbles. So
I think it's a perfect name.
I think it is a perfect name too. So Bubbles, Bob and Pinky. Now if you can find us an aardvark or a honey badger, then certainly a lot of people are going to be very happy. Or even a brown hyena.
Have I seen?
Hmm?
Yeah, one.
Oh, you've seen one as well? Awesome. So unfortunately we don't get them here very often. I think Peter was lucky enough to find one a couple of years ago now, I think it is.
Probably because of all the spotted hyena activity.
Yeah, there's a lot of spotted hyena activity. Cool, these tracks we got down the road here.
Like hyena.
Oh, is it hyena?
You see wildebeest now.
Just wildebeest and hyena. Now with the lack of lion and I think spotted hyena where you are, you get a lot of different other small animals, don't you, on your cameras, on the
Yes, you
camera
do.
traps.
Caracal,
Caracal,
not that much.
mm-hmm.
Serval,
Serval,
certain areas. Civet we pick up a lot. But
Civet
at the
a lot.
moment, where we busy camera trapping at the moment because there's lots of leopard activities. We assume we're pushing them out.
Okay, so Anton's saying possibly where the camera trapping at the moment, the leopard is possibly pushing the civet out, so they're not seeing the civet as much as they were before.
And then large spotted genet as well.
Large spotted genets
Of course, your mongooses, we have a very rare Malus mongoose.
and the rare Melon's mongoose. Wow, that's nice.
I want to get in like 3 different spots. So maybe the 4th one now in Southern Africa we find it.
Okay, so there's only 4 spots in Southern Africa where you find them.
And because of this camera trapping, because of the leopard project or the research, leopard research there, we discovered this population in the area.
Oh,
People didn't
wow.
know all that.
Anton's saying because of the research that's been done there, that's the reason why they've actually found this population, otherwise no one really knew that they were there. And what about aardwolf?
We do have aardwolves.
You do have
Not in
aardwolf.
our study area at the moment, but
Mhm.
about 15-20 km from there.
About
I've seen them
15-20
before.
k's from where they're studying at the moment. The aardwolf look a little bit like a small striped hyena.
Yeah, very good.
They eat ants and termites. So different diet than the other hyenas. They are closely related to the hyena. Okay, so we're just approaching Gary Main, Gary Cookline, sorry. Ah yes, scrub hair. I'm just going to see if we can get a little bit closer. Hi Sue, welcome on board this evening. I'm wanting to know, is there any animals here in the reserve with a transmitter? Or I think we need the light still. Anton's getting carried away looking for animals for you.
Sorry, I thought you were done. What's his name? Peter?
Peter Rabbit. Or Bugs Bunny. Okay. We are just going to probably leave him to it, just in case there is any leopard around. We don't want to shine him up to any predators around. Yeah. You never know. And but Sue wanting to know, do we have any radio-collared animals here in the reserve? And we do have some. We actually saw a buffalo herd not too long ago, where a cow was collared. So their movements are being studied quite closely. A couple of the elephant cows also have a radio transmitter on. And one or two of the lionesses also. So there are some animals being studied. But a lot of those animals actually come from Kruger. So the only animal that I know of here in the Sabi Sands is a pangolin. I think Jonathan Swart actually did a lot of research on the pangolin, and they did put a radio transmitter on it. Hi, Dolly now. Good evening to you. Wanting to know if animals have grown up together, would they recognise each other later on in the years? If they haven't seen each other for 3 or 4 years, as in leopards. So I'll turn that one over to you, Anton.
I would definitely say so. They grew up together, so they were probably descended. It's just like an imprinting to them. So they will definitely, I won't say definitely, but that's my opinion, that they will recognise each other in a few years.
So Anton's saying, in his opinion, yes, because they have grown up together, they would recognise the scent. And I tend to agree with Anton. I think they would. And I think Mishu and Induna, even though they're not spending time together, I think they do know each other. And whenever they do come across each other, they will recognise each other as their siblings. And I think even the girls, Tingana and Siseka, I think, would also recognise each other. And they probably haven't come across each other for much longer, maybe a couple of years.
Well, I've seen they recognise vehicles.
Yes.
Just by the sound of it.
Yeah, I've also seen, Anton's saying he's seen them recognise vehicles just by the sound of it, and I also have seen the same recognition. Even with rhinos, I've seen the recognition from the sound of the vehicles, the elephants, the leopards. And again, if they're capable of that recognition, there is definitely, in my book, room for recognition of each other, because that's the survival. Now I'm wondering if I'm just picking up something there. Can you see it? I can pull off to one side maybe. Or is that antelope again? Wildebeest again. I'm doing well on my wildebeest tracks this evening. Very old hyena. Hi Rosie, good to hear from you. Another question for you, Anton. We actually had, if I can fill you in on the sighting, Mishu and Induna say that they're approaching 2 years and a half. They haven't seen or spent time together from what we know. They may have done it without us seeing. But the other day we actually caught both of them on the open area together. Mishu was walking and Induna was kind of following parallel with him, but not actually interacting. And when Induna was eating, Mishu kind of sat there and watched him, but he didn't sort of challenge him. And Rosie wants to know, is this normal behaviour for leopards of their age? To actually come across each other like that.
Two males to meet up. Yeah, we've seen it on our camera traps as well. We photographed two male leopards walking behind each other, and you can see they're very wary of the other one's presence because the ears are folding down. But I think they do meet more than we think. I wouldn't say it's probably a common thing, but I definitely do.
Yeah, Anton's saying they have seen it on where they're researching. Two males being very wary of each other, the ears were flat, and they actually caught it on a camera trap. There was a little bit of distance between them, but they were very, very aware of each other. But what was quite interesting is that Mishu and Induna are brothers.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and their ears weren't flat, they weren't... It was almost as if they're now getting to that age where they shouldn't really interact. But I don't know if there was still that familiarity there that they kind of thought, well, we're here now, and you know, it was very, very odd.
I would say for that age, they could probably sometimes hunt together as well. It's not impossible.
That was also my other thought. Anton's saying at that age, maybe they also were hunting together. Now this is her favourite tree here, this jackleberry. I've seen her in there a few times. Just on the left, yeah. Beautiful big jackleberry. We have seen her there a couple of times.
Also, one of the trees leopards like to mark, I believe, in the low veld here, in your area.
Definitely. Jackleberries, you do find them around, and marulas here.
In our area, you get lots of waterberries.
Oh, waterberries.
Drainage lines and so on, and leopards like to mark them.
Okay.
You know, claw marks on them.
But they can grow quite big and quite thick branches and trunks. But just going back to the question from Rosie as well, I did wonder, because we actually had Mishu hunting a baby warthog, and then it was almost as if he was catching the scent of something, and I wondered if he was actually following the scent of Induna, and both of them happened to meet up on the quarantine area, and I did wonder if they'd actually worked together to hunt.
I would say for the age, it's
for
quite
the age.
possible, yeah. And when they're getting bigger, and especially if one of them can establish his own territory, he's not going to tolerate his brother anymore. Because unlike lions, you know, they form a collision. Leopards are solitary animals. So if there's in some way competition, they'll probably do it. But if they're very young, I think when one catching something will make a kill, the animal will probably scavenge for me as well.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been seeing. We've been seeing remnants of that. So we've either been catching them too late, and we're actually seeing one of them leaving as the other one's arriving, or that sort of vibe. So, as I say, that was a couple of my thoughts, that he was actually going to try and scavenge from him. And I think maybe at some stage over the night, one or both of them had actually made the kill.
Of course, there will be one which is a little bit dominant over the other one, even if it's a male and a female. Usually the male is more dominant because he's bigger. He's got a head in weight, so the dominant the female probably. So you get them. I think one there is probably more dominant than the other one.
I actually haven't worked that one out yet, because it seems to be, you know, whoever's got the kill at the time seems to be more dominant, and they both will definitely not let the other one feed. Definitely not.
They do it from a very young age.
Very much so. Stations, just to let you know, there was some Mvubu at Buffelshoek Dam. They hadn't left the Manzi yet. Just to let you know, there was some Mvubu at Buffelshoek Dam. They hadn't left the Manzi yet. Sounds like it's been very quiet all afternoon. This is also a very favourite spot for the leopards here. Yeah. Seen the cub's father, or who we think is the father, Yambili down here. The boys, Mishu Nduna, Karula. And just to update everybody, I was talking to a guide last night, and he has said he's seen white-cloth sun about 3 weeks ago. So white-cloth sun has been doing well for himself. So I know a few days ago we were talking about white-cloth sun, and I said I haven't seen him for quite a while now. But apparently he has been seen further south, where we are. I'm just going to head on to quarantine area just to see if there's any action going on. Maybe the leopards are out and about this side. Hi Sharon. Sharon, good evening to you. And maybe Anton, maybe you've heard something about this. I've never heard this before. But a little while ago, Sharon was telling me about a school of thought where a cheetah cub, or a cheetah, if she only has one cub, she'll abandon it because she doesn't produce enough milk. Now, I have been asking around and I have been trying to do a bit of research on it, Sharon. And it seems to be more in the zoo environment or captive environment. I haven't found anything to suggest that's what happens in the wild. Maybe Anton, you've heard of something like that. A cheetah, she's only got one cub. She doesn't produce enough milk to support it.
I think you can find it almost any animal.
With
what we call with leopards, lions definitely. Sometimes with lions, what I've heard before is they only have one cub in a very hard time of the year. There's not lots of food, they will sometimes abandon as well.
Okay, Anton's saying that he has heard that before, and it's actually been documented in leopards and lions as well. And in lions, in a difficult time of year, they may even abandon the cub because there's not enough milk production. That's quite interesting. It's amazing. I haven't been able to find any information on it.
Now, I spoke to people who are researchers and doing this. Some research on red lion, and they've seen it before.
So there's actually people. So Anton's saying he's actually had contact with researchers who have commented on it. But I'm definitely very grateful, Sharon, for bringing it up because, as I say, I've never heard of it before.
For animal lions, leopards, it's more about their own health to stay alive, to have more cubs in the future than just looking after one and running the risk to die themselves.
So Anton's just saying that it's just as important for the adult to stay alive so that they can actually go on and reproduce more offspring. and unfortunately that is the survival strategy coming through. But I find it quite interesting that it has been documented in the lions and the leopards. So there you go, Sharon. I'm glad you decided to ask that this evening, so we can actually finally get an answer for you.
Very good answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Question.
Deb, and wanting to know, are they still working with the golden moles?
Yes, we do. We still didn't manage to catch one yet.
They still haven't managed to catch one yet,
Still
Deb.
trying to catch one, yeah, but it's still going on.
But it is still going on. And for those of you who aren't aware, they've actually found, I think it was a dead specimen.
Yeah, we found a dead
They found a dead specimen on a walk, and they actually sent it away to ID it, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, to the Museum of Victoria.
And they actually found that it's possibly a different species of golden mole in that area. So what they're trying to do is to see if they can get a live specimen, and I think that you need a couple to actually.
Yeah, like 3 or 4. Just
3 or
get,
4.
A little sample from that.
To actually get a little sample from the animal, so obviously they don't kill the animal. They can actually just get a little sample from the animal, and they can actually do some, take a DNA testing and that sort of thing, and see if they can actually prove that it is a different species.
Well, the first one was tested positive, but the carcass itself was out for about 3 days. So,
okay.
Because it was a bit rotten, it couldn't interfere with the taste.
Apparently, the carcass that was found was rotten, and it had been dead for a few days. So it may have interfered with the DNA sampling. See, we've got a lot of impalas here, so there's definitely a lot of food around here. But our predators must be sleeping in. Well, we've come to the end of the open area, and unfortunately we've come to the end of our drive. If I can maybe grab the spotlight, that'd be wonderful. So I hope everybody's enjoyed it, and unfortunately, let me just see if we can put it here. Oh, there we go. So hopefully everyone can hear me now. But thank you very much for joining us this evening, and unfortunately the animals seem to be on the holidays still. At least managed to see the rhino, but it's certainly been absolutely wonderful to have you on board with us this afternoon. If I can turn the spotlight onto Anton. So
You need to put the light on me.
Yes, I do. So everyone can say goodbye to you. You can say goodbye to everyone if you want.
Yeah, thank you a lot for the opportunity to be with you guys. It was very interesting, and when they're around you can see the tracks, so they're definitely around. You saw tracks, a female and a male. And so thank you very much for that, and I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope you learned something. And please follow our blog site on what we're doing. There's a link, as far as I know, on your website as well.
I think that is, yeah.
And see what we're doing. Emma's writing a blog regularly. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And as I say, definitely a big thank you, Anton, for joining us. I've been desperate to get you down here and actually show us how you cast the track, so I'm really chuffed we're able to have done that. And obviously a little bit different for you guys back home. And as I say, hopefully you've enjoyed it and having some questions answered by Anton as well. But again, thank you very much.
Thank you for all the questions as well.
Yeah, certainly. But if you'd like to join us again for our next live safari, then that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock Central Africa time, where Jack will be heading out again, and you can join him if you haven't had a chance to join one of his tryout drives. So if you'd like to join him, please do. Very funny guy, so definitely keeps us laughing back in Final Control. So I hope you enjoy his drive tomorrow morning, and I'll be joining you the following day. So take care, everyone. Thank you very much, Daniel, for all your camera work. Herman back in Final Control, and everyone, wherever you are in the world, take care, and I'll see you again here on Wild Earth very soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.